Hey everyone, Thomas here with ForReel Movie News and Reviews, and I am very excited today to be previewing Sundance 2021 with two of my favorite tailors in the world, Taylor Beaumont and Taylor Baker. Guys, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, what a special occasion. I'm so excited to be covering Sundance and seeing the movies that they have and trying to, take in as much as possible. I've put together my schedule, and I think we've all kind of locked in the premieres we want to go to. So it's going to be a pretty crazy time, but a pretty fun time, I think, right?
Absolutely. I've already kind of started building my little film nest where I'm going to be watching everything for that week straight, just
right. Yeah.
Marathon. Yeah.
Yeah, and Taylor, you got your, this is, I'm going to differentiate you guys. I'm going to say either Taylor in Vancouver or Taylor in Seattle. How's that sound?
Works. That works.
Good way of doing it.
It's coherent to me.
Yeah.
Coherent. Taylor in Seattle, you got your schedule all figured out?
It is, like all things in film festival land, a rough draft, and the final draft will only be me lamenting all the films that I missed on accident or didn't quite make the premiere for after the end of the film festival.
Right. So it's very interesting how they're doing this festival. Obviously, film festivals have had to adapt to the current health situation, the global health pandemic, or the global pandemic, I guess, of COVID-19. And so, they've taken the festival virtual, as most film festivals have. I think some states still have a few in-person screens for theaters that are open. I'm not entirely sure exactly which ones those are. Seattle was going to have one. I don't know if that's still happening. I highly doubt it.
It will not.
Yeah, highly doubt it. But it was a good effort to try to bring that to people where they are, which is kind of like the mantra of the festival. It seems is bringing the festival to where we are, and so we have a virtual film festival to experience. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm interested in your guys' kind of first reaction or first impressions of like the festival, because we've gotten to kind of play with the platform, the festival platform, and the and scheduling and everything. What are you guys' first reactions on the festival?
Well, honestly, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I should probably clarify. Taylor in Seattle, why don't we start with you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, more than anything, we're still in confusion because as of right now, this recording, we don't know when Q&As are going to be, and there's still going to be late additions to the lineup. So, there's no way that any of us have a final draft because we don't quite know what's going to be occurring yet. It seems like the online platform, though, will be reliable as it didn't go down on that first day that they opened everything up, which is a good sign for a film festival that's going to have a giant amount of people attending.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a pretty good platform, pretty user-friendly. I was able to navigate it no problem, though I did, initially have my questions when it was, first launched and they were first, kind of detailed everything just via email to us. I was a little iffy on some things, but picked it up pretty quickly and built my schedule pretty quickly. Obviously, yeah, like Taylor said, there's still some other details to come, and the late editions, I think on January 12th is what they were announcing. So still a lot up in the air at the moment, but yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I do like, because we were talking about how VIFF was pretty much just all on demand. But Sundance, yeah, still gives you that experience of catching a premiere, and then even like after a premiere, meeting up in like chat rooms and talking about the film with other people who are in that premiere screening, quote unquote. So that's a cool experience. Kind of takes you back to that actual film festival experience that I'm sure we're all missing. So I'm a little excited to see how that works. The tentatively seeing how that works, but yeah, no, I'm psyched.
Yeah, I think there we go. Can you guys hear me? There he is.
Yep.
I think that we all have questions going into this. I think we all have a lot of uncertainty about what is going to transpire, what plans are sticking, what plans are changing. I am interested in whatever late additions that are going to be happening and what that's going to look like. So there's still a lot that's in the air, and we're all, I mean, even in the How to Fest meetings that we went in trying to prepare us for the festival, there's still a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty about what was going to happen. So yeah, we just all have to stay kind of
Water.
fluent. Yes,
Yeah.
fluid and kind of roll with the punches. So what about the lineup, guys? Tell me what you guys think about the lineup of films that was announced last month.
This is potentially the best lineup that we will have attended, I think, since both you and I started doing film festivals in late August with, Fantasia Fest, Thomas. I mean, Undine was a great selection to VIFF. They had a couple other, just really sweetheart films, but here there's just so much good stuff. There's a far range of documentaries on subject titles that are familiar and foreign. There's really unique filmmakers that are directing their own films as well as doing cinematography for their own films, directorial debuts, foreign films up the wazoo. It's a really great selection.
Right. Yeah, because you're right. We started our, I guess, film festival season back with Fantasia, and yeah, that was a really good lineup. And since then, we've gotten to attend a bunch of other film festivals, and Taylor in Vancouver. I got to meet you at the Vancouver International Film Festival, and that was an incredible event. And so, yeah, lots of great films leading up to this, but it is really cool to see the kind of lineup that has come to Sundance, even during this time of turmoil and uncertainty in the filmmaking industry. It seems that the pandemic is a theme to quite a few movies that are on the lineup, and it'll be interesting to see different filmmakers' interpretations and representations of how the pandemic has affected us or affected storytelling. And that's one of my big takeaways from this selection is obviously there's really, really great films and a variety of films, but I really am interested in how the pandemic has molded filmmaking this last year.
Yeah, I mean, you even got films that were completed during the pandemic, basically, Ben Wheatley's In the Earth, which is one I'm really excited for. Yeah, it was apparently kind of completed in secrecy during the pandemic. So just to see, I mean, that one deals with a virus, but so it is kind of pandemic themed, but just to see kind of what films, the pandemic, inspired, or at least how the conditions changed during the pandemic for film production, and just to see what is birthed from that is super exciting. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with everything that I am learning about this festival so far. All the films look really exciting. I was really, when I first just saw the basic lineup announcement, I was just I was a little skeptical at first. I was not sure what I was going to attach to, but then I started going through the films, and yeah, I racked up a big list of just everything I want to watch, and there's a lot exciting, a lot of debuts, a lot of diversity, and yeah, it's just, yeah. This is my first time going really in depth with Sundance. Usually I just kind of have a more of an outsider perspective, and I see the big films that get announced or that are birthed from Sundance. But this is my first time going really in with it, all in. And yeah, I'm super, super excited.
Yeah, I was looking through the public ticket sales just to kind of see what are the popular movies. I mean, I had an idea of which movies would be popular, and that's one of the things that I love about film festivals is kind of going into it with this open mind. With mainstream movies, things that come out in theaters, we get trailers, we get posters, we get news articles and buzz. There's a lot that kind of comes with our experience of going to the movies in a mainstream capacity. But with film festivals, a lot of the times we have a description and an image, and then some kind of a little bit of buzz or a little bit of word of mouth. So it is exciting to be able to kind of dive in and look into who's directing, who's starring in, what are the backgrounds of these filmmakers and performers. So I was going in and kind of looking at which films were kind of were attracting the public mostly, and it's interesting that the screenings that have sold out already for public tickets. I saw Coda, both of those showings sold out. Obviously, Passing, both of those showings sold out. On the Count of Three, I'm really excited for that one, but I didn't expect the public tickets for that to sell out as quickly as it did. So yeah, lots of demand for a lot of these films, and it's going to be really fun to see which ones we like, but also see which ones penetrate the mainstream market or get into the next year's Academy Awards running. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess I'm really interested in hearing about our most anticipated films, kind of talking about demand for films. You guys have a top three that you were able to pick?
Yep.
I have a top three that you demanded we pick.
Yes, I did demand that you pick it. Yep. Yep. Cool. How about Taylor in Vancouver? Let's start with your number three.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, no particular order, but I already mentioned one, In the Earth, from Ben Wheatley. I'm still not like entirely sold on Ben Wheatley as a director. He's got a very disorienting style. He really aims, I think, to throw you off as a viewer or to even like get on your nerves, kind of. I think that's kind of his goal, to get under your skin. And he certainly accomplishes that with a lot of his films, but his past efforts, High Rise and Kill List, and those movies just haven't really struck a chord with me, and have just kind of left me sometimes with a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. And again, maybe that's what he's going for. But his new effort, In the Earth, like I mentioned, it's kind of pandemic themed. It's about this kind of deadly virus that has kind of taken over the world, and it's got an environmental factor to it as well. But it was completed during the pandemic. It was completed kind of in secrecy, so no one knows too much about it. There is a trailer out there, but it's like a minute long trailer, and it's like super teaser trailer. Like you get a few images and that's it, basically. But yeah, I'm excited to see where he goes with it. I'm still, I want to give him a chance as a director, and he's got big projects in the coming up. I think he's directing the Meg 2 movie, which is going to be a big Hollywood movie. So
he's doing Tomb Raider 2.
Sorry,
the only one I know that he's doing is Tomb Raider 2.
Oh, okay, maybe that's it. So he's got a lot upcoming, lot in his future, so he's one to watch for sure. And this one's already got distribution in the States with Neon, so yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm also really excited for, it's kind of like a dark horse pick, but Mayday. This one's kind of starting to appeal more and more to me as I just kind of think about it, not even so much as I read about it, because there's not that much to, again, reading out there on that. But just the premise sounds really cool. It's female driven, shot entirely in Croatia, so it's just gonna have this cool scenery to it, and definitely some cool cinematography, I'm betting. It's got Colin Stetson providing the score, and I'm a big fan of his work. He did the score for Hereditary, which is really cool. So I think the whole movie's just going to have this really cool atmosphere around it. It's got some good star power behind it with Mia Goth and Grace Van Patten. It's going to be kind of like a surreal, dreamlike Alice in Wonderland style kind of film, and that really appeals to me. And for my third pick, I'm going for One for the Road, which is the Thai film, and that's directed by Baz Poonpriya. He's working with Wong Kar-wai on this, so he's got that backing, which is fantastic. And just a buddy kind of road drama film, but it deals with some heavy subjects. One of the friends has been stricken with terminal cancer, so it's kind of like his last road trip, and it goes around Thailand, so there'll be some really cool explorations there. And I was reading that one of the characters is a bartender, so there's like some cool cocktails featured throughout the film, and I don't know, that just sounds fun.
This sounds so good to, I'm a bartender, and so
exactly,
I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I like films that just will take a moment to like focus on something food related or something drink related, just kind of like they'll show the artistry behind that. It's always kind of cool when films spotlight that, so I'm hoping this film will maybe spotlight some cool cocktail recipes or something like that. That would just be really fun. So yeah, that's my third pick. I'm really excited for all those three, but I'll give a shout out to the Sparks Brothers, the Edgar Wright documentary. That looks really fun. I'm excited to see what he does there. And yeah,
all great picks. I'm in my list of movies that I want to see. I think all of those are up there in the upper echelons of film of the selection. So yeah, good choices there. Taylor in Seattle, what are you thinking?
I've got three as well that I can fire off to you. The first of which is The World to Come. It's produced by Casey Affleck and directed by Mona Fastfold. It's going to be starring. Uh, it's a. I should mention first, it's a sophomore follow-up, but it's been about 7 years since the directorial debut. So normally that's the range of time I see in a director where they kind of reinvent themselves, become more deliberate in their artistry. Since then, she's co-written both Vox Lux and the film last year, Mustang, starring Matthias Schoenaerts. That was just this gorgeous, sumptuous film about prison rehabilitation that you would never expect to be luxuriant. She's got Vanessa Kirby, Catherine Waterston, Christopher Abbott, who I think we all love, and Casey Affleck in starring roles. And it's about two women who are forging a connection despite the isolation in mid 19th century America on the frontier. It's a very simple premise. We've seen Carey Mulligan do a lot in something similar in like Meek's Cutoff. I think that this could be a really dazzling film from a performance perspective, and there's really good artists behind this project.
Yeah, Christopher Abbott yeah, I because both of you guys saw Possessor last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And both of you saw Black Bear as well, yeah?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it cool the variety of roles that guy can take? I mean, I consider Black Bear almost like two movies.
Yeah.
So to see the kind of the variety just in this last year of roles that he can take on, and also what he has coming up, and Vanessa Kirby, who you mentioned as well. She has Pieces of a Woman coming out or came out today. Yeah,
yesterday.
Oh, what's today? Saturday. It isn't. Anyway,
or maybe 2 days ago, Thursday. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So Vanessa Kirby is doing great things as well, and so it's nice to see her showing up at Sundance as well. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about because I'm more of an actors person. I'll probably talk more about that when it's my turn. I'm too busy hijacking Taylor and Seattle's turn. But yeah, the actors really kind of draw my attention to a film, and so I just wanted to pause because and point out that I love the work that actors were coming up in Sundance multiple times, the things that they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, actors certainly draw the eye. That's why star power often begets a budget for a film. But for me, when I'm looking at these, it's more about who the artists are and where the director or the writer is at this stage of their career. And when I see Casey Affleck, I know he's problematic right now, but when I see him sign on to a project as a producer, it means a lot because he doesn't do it very often. And he's never made a bad film that he's produced. And it's been years since I've seen him act in a film that I didn't like. So when I see that type of relationship with a sophomore filmmaker who's probably been working on the screenplay for, 5 years, I'm very excited for something like that. But Christopher Abbott's in that other film that you were just talking about. What is it? On the Count of Three. It's like a heist movie. I'm very stoked for that too, just because it's Christopher Abbott acting. I mean, since James White, I've just been on that guy's boat.
James White, yeah, fantastic. Really enjoyed that one. Christopher Abbott has quickly gone from like that guy who looks like Kit Harington to like an actor you really need to watch for sure.
To a superior actor to Kit Harington.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll get on to my number 2, which is 8 for Silver. It's directed by Sean Ellis. Sean Ellis is also serving as the cinematographer for this film, which goes a long way for me. I really like when really creative writers that are directors start doing their own cinematography. I have a personal favorite filmmaker in Steven Soderbergh who does that. He also edits his own films, which I particularly love. So this film is his I think third time serving as his own cinematographer, but he's writing, producing, and editing all by himself. It's a late 19th century based film. It's somewhere near Rome based on the definition of the synopsis, but it's kind of hard to get a feeling on it. Essentially, it's about a unusual circumstance in a village with people dying and a potentiality for werewolves. Something to do with pathologists and sinister presences lurking in the woods. But all you really need to know is that it's a period piece from a really, really authentic creative director. He made Cashback previously, Anthropoid, and Metro Manila. And he's got some familiar actors that you won't really recognize as stars, and Kelly Riley, Boyd Holbrook, and Alistair Petrie.
Yeah, actually, Taylor, it's because of your recommendation that this movie's on my radar. So I am pretty sure I got a seat at the premiere for that one. So, and that was all your fault.
I'll sit right next to you. All right, on to my most anticipated film that I've been waiting for probably 2 years now. That is Theo Anthony's All Light Everywhere. It's technically described as a documentary. It's entered as a feature documentary by that team, but it's more or less, somewhere in between, like all beautiful films are, somewhere in between reality, somewhere in between fiction. I'll just read the synopsis off Letterboxd because it's going to do a better job of explaining this film than I could. The synopsis reads as: All Light Everywhere explores the past, present, and future relationships between technology, vision, and power. From arcane theories of sight to the emergence of virtual reality and police body camera programs, the film takes a kaleidoscopic investigation into how the reality of what we see is constructed through the tools that we use to see. And that's All Light Everywhere. It's from Theo Anthony. He originally directed a film called Rat Film that kind of took all those jury prizes by storm in the film festival circuit 2015 through 17. And this is his follow-up that he spent quite some time making.
Nice. Sorry, I had to stop an alarm from happening on my phone. That was going to ruin everything. Great. I mean, great choices. Again, all of those are very high on my list. Taylor in Vancouver, did you have any thoughts on the movies that Taylor in Seattle was mentioning?
Well, 8 for Silver definitely made my list. I think also just in talking to you, Thomas, and then probably that came from Taylor. So yeah, so that's also definitely on the list. I think I got my spot for the premiere on that
Look
one.
at the level of influence you have, Taylor, in Seattle.
It's just, very deep. It's very deep. I find things that I like and then I don't shut up.
That's true. I can attest to that. That's exactly how you operate. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I love you for it. It's great. There's a ton of good stuff to talk about. You know what? Let's do that one. Okay. So
let's just talk about pleasure instead.
You know, you would like that, wouldn't you?
How about Passing?
Oh, Passing.
What other movies do I want to talk about? Can we do Prisoners of the Ghostland?
I actually, you know what? I don't. Can someone explain to me what we were supposed to be expecting from Prisoners of the Ghostland? Because Nicolas Cage has this like fun and friendly national treasure, Nicolas Cage, and then this Mandy kind of Nicolas Cage. Like, where in the spectrum is Prisoners of the Ghostland supposed to fall?
I think it's gonna be right in line with his Netflix series on swearing.
Just a lot of cussing.
Oh man. Well, you know, one movie that I'm looking forward to, and I guess I'll make this one of my top 3, is Knocking. That one is premiering Friday, January 29th. And it's a fascinating premise, I think. And also something that appeals to me is it's actually really not that long. I'm pretty sure the runtime is like 78 minutes. Yeah, 78-minute movie. So not like between an hour and a half. That's like a really, really nice kind of length for an interesting premise in a suspense mystery kind of film. Essentially, there's this character. Her name is Molly, and she's hearing a noise upstairs, and it gets louder and louder and more persistent. And so she confronts her neighbors about it, and nobody else is hearing this noise. And I mean, you can stop this.
She dies everywhere. Count me out. Or she dies tomorrow. Whatever the hell that was.
Right. I'm very interested in seeing where it goes from there, because you can stop the synopsis there, and I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I want to know what's going to happen. I think, and at 78 minutes, it doesn't sound too drawn out. I mean, it's kind of like, how long was Host? Host was only
like 50 or 60.
I think it was a little bit.
It didn't go over an hour.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't think it did.
Okay, yeah, but that's kind of like the
Well, which host do you mean?
I
Bong
know.
Joon-ho's or
Not
Yeah.
Bong Joon-ho's. No, the
Back up.
2021. That's actually, I don't know, that's like
yeah,
one
it's
of the first.
56 minutes. The one directed by
So it
Rob
didn't
Savage
even
is
go over an
56
hour.
minutes.
Okay. But yeah, I think when you have a great, an interesting concept and an interesting mystery, like don't stretch it out. Like just tell the story, let it run its course. And if it's at 56 minutes, 78 minutes, it's, that's what it is. And so the runtime and the interesting premise attract me. It is a Swedish film. So
So some reading.
so some reading, which is fine for me, and I think it'll be a very interesting film. I'm looking forward to that. So yes, let me get my list back up. Knocking is one of them, and then I guess another mystery, not mystery, but more like thriller, I guess, is John in the Hole. This one was supposed to premiere. Taylor, you're gonna get mad at me for this. Cannes.
Can.
He gave me some shit about that earlier this week, and I still haven't figured it out. But at some point, I will. It was supposed to premiere at Cannes.
Canes?
Cannes.
Ca double N-E-S.
I don't French, unfortunately. So anyway, that's when it was supposed to have its world premiere, which says a lot about the quality of the film to have been a selection at that film festival. And also, it has a pretty solid cast, a small cast, but a solid one. Michael C. Hall, who most people know from Dexter. And
Or 6 Feet Under, just gotta say.
No, I've never seen it, but I know Dexter. And I'm not going to pronounce her name right. Taissa Farmiga.
Taissa Farmiga.
Taissa Farmiga. Thanks, Taylor. You're always here to correct my pronunciations.
Well, it's Vera Farmiga's little sister, and
Yes.
I've actually been interested in her work for a while. She's been acting from a very young age, playing like the younger version of her older sister,
Right.
and she's got a very interesting body of work in some very bad movies. But she's an interesting actress.
I think so too. I think that she has a lot of potential, and she's kind of working her way up. Obviously, I mean, anytime Vera's in a project, I'm excited to see it, regardless of how many Conjuring movies they make. I'm always
universe now, man.
It's a universe now, and honestly, to be fair, one of the few properties that have been able to pull off a universe in a cohesive way, a somewhat cohesive
because
way.
There's 2 movies in Mama, right? Isn't that the whole? Or no, the Annabelle movies.
Annabelle. There's also The Nun, which was The Nun was
terrible.
It was awful, terrible movie. I could not stop laughing.
And that's the one Taysha was in, right?
Yes.
Taysha.
Yep. Yes, it was.
Now you got me.
But yeah, I think that she has a lot of growth potential in her career, and I think that maybe this could be a step into better films and into more interesting kind of thriller movies. So yeah, the cast is what obviously attracts me to this film, and the concept, and the fact that it was selected for Cannes last year, but wasn't able to debut because of the pandemic. So this will be a fun one to see. And then, The World to Come is like my number one most anticipated movie. But because we already talked about that, I think another one that's really,
You're welcome.
Yeah, just thanks, Taylor, for throwing off my entire list. No, another one that really has my interest on the road, like everything you guys mentioned, I had originally considered for my list. Oh, that's right, Wild Indian. I am really excited about it. I don't know a whole lot about it, but
Jesse Eisenberg's in it.
I know Jesse Eisenberg's in it, and for some reason, I am very attracted to his work in these more independent oriented films, and so that's one of the reasons I'm really interested in what this one does. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's an interesting premise, and Jesse Eisenberg.
It's a directorial debut from Lyle Mitchell Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yep.
a junior as well, looks like. Got Michael Grey Eyes in there, Kate Bosworth. It's interesting. I've got a spot at the premiere for that as well. I'm intrigued.
You know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to that premiere. So I'm going to have to catch that 4 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
Well, or you could reserve it at 4 in the morning and then start watching it at 6:30.
I actually don't think you can reserve the early access screenings. I'm pretty
No,
sure.
so you wake up at 4 a.m., then you make that your selection. Then you go back to sleep for 2.5 hours, wake up and start watching it so that you finish right when that 4-hour window ends.
There it is.
Very clever. Actually, I mean, the way that Sundance is working right now, which is, I think, a very logical way to do this is they have the premieres for the movies. And these premieres happen in slots throughout the day. In most days, there's 5 slots. And so there will be a selection of movies per slot, and you can reserve your space in 1 movie per slot. So
just to cut in, there's also films in between slots that if you reserve, count for each slot.
Oh, explain that again.
There's ones that fall right in the middle. Yeah.
So there's premieres that are going to be on either side of a block. And if you watch that premiere, it counts against you in both blocks. So you can't reserve another premiere in one of those blocks, even though the film will have ended and there will still be enough time for you to attend that premiere.
We learned this. You're talking kind of, I think that's specifically the case for One for the Road. Yeah, the first night.
It falls like right in the middle. So you either have to, you can only catch that one. And then there's like coda before it and censor after it, you can only choose one of those,
right? Which is slightly frustrating, because if they had just started One for the Road 15 minutes earlier, you could watch all 3. Oh no, I'm sorry, not all 3. You could watch One for the Road and then the 3rd slot, because it starts halfway through or something like that. There's a way that it happens where if it has just been 15 minutes earlier, it would have been cleanly in a slot and not invading 2 other slots. I'm pretty sure that that's the only case that's happening. But I'm also told that you can walk into a screening if there's space available in that same slot. So
I doubt that there will be for that one.
Yeah, I'm getting that too. But what's interesting is in the public tickets, I noticed that One for the Road, the second screening, is sold out, not the first one. So I think everyone's trying to get to the documentary. What's it called? The Revolution.
Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised.
Yes, exactly. So because that one is sold out on the opening night for public tickets, and then
that's the one that I'm doing over One for the Road.
Nice, very cool. I'm going to try to sneak into one for the road after Coda, because I'm hearing
it's probably gonna win an award. So maybe we can watch it on Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, hopefully.
There's also the Wednesday. Really cool.
Yeah. So there's the slots. There's that one thing that happens with One for the Road, unfortunately, but hard choices are to be made at film festivals. And then, so the day after that, we have access to early access screenings for the movies that premiered the day before. So we get to check out some of the movies that we couldn't see at the premiere the next day. But for the public, 2 days after the premiere, there is a second screening for the public to be able to buy tickets to. And we'll have
we might be in there too.
Yeah, we'll have access to those as well if we couldn't catch the first 2 chances. But as I'm seeing with the movies that are selling out, it's very important to plan ahead and make sure you have your seats reserved and your schedule mapped out, because it's I'm pretty sure we have until the 27th or 28th to lock in what we want to do officially. But I wouldn't wait until then, because things are selling out. There's a lot of demand for movies already. So it's important to be, as early as possible with that planning. But on top of that, Sundance also has a lot of other things going on. There's short programs that I'm really hoping I have time to check out. There's various experiences as well. Have you guys had a chance to kind of look into the kind of other things outside of feature films happening at Sundance?
Well, I don't have a virtual reality headset, so the New Horizons, or whatever that's called, New Frontiers, a little bit limited for me, because I won't be able to actually engage at that level with some of those things. But there are some in the indie series and short film. These days is 22 minutes, I thought that I might check that one out. And there's some other series in there that don't really go north of 2 hours by very much. Seeds of Deceit, 4 Feet High, Would You Rather, that, you know, I might try to give credence to, especially on that first day, either before or after that one film directed by Questlove that we were talking about earlier, because that does fall in the middle. So we can't attend either of the other premieres. So that's going to be kind of the freest day that we have during all of Sundance if we watch one of those middle titles.
Right. And yeah, it's cool to see that Sundance is working with emerging types of media and trying to push the envelope for how we experience media and entertainment. And so that's really cool. If you're able to engage with that, I think that that's certainly something to check out if you'll be attending the film festival. But yeah, taking a look at these other entertainment opportunities outside of feature films, there's certainly a lot that they're offering. Like Taylor in Seattle says, the indie series, probably a lot that's in there that's worth taking a look at, short films. And then I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, every movie has talks afterward. I think that that's the case.
I don't know if every single one does, but I do know that right now that tab on their website is still not populated as of this conversation. When you go to their website, there's 3 different tabs. There's films, there's New Frontier, and in the middle there is talks and events. And under that, we have the banner that says coming soon. So until we can actually see that, I don't know that every single film will have one, but I would assume that, you know, all the potential award winners are going to have some sort of a conversation either with the stars, the producers, or the director.
Yeah, which would be cool. And I mean, it would be really awesome if we could get some conversations in, you know, on our respective platforms here at ForReel and over at Drinking the Movies. We'll see what transpires there, though.
Yes.
So yeah. Let me see. I'm going through general details about the festival. The festival pass for public purchase is $350. The day pass is $75. There's also an Explorer Pass. It says Discover Innovative Immersive Experiences.
Well, let me just interrupt. Depending on how soon you drop this, I do know that they still had some. If you signed up through Instagram, if you follow Sundance through Instagram, I think that they had some of the 375s on sale for 200 still.
Oh, okay. I did not see that.
Nice.
Very cool. And what's
hook people up.
Yeah, well done. I think one of the things that comes with having a pass is that if I'm not mistaken, there are seats set aside for pass holders, right? So even if the tickets or like the individual tickets are sold out, there should be some space in there for pass holders. So that could be a way to get into some of these more
potentially. I imagine there's going to be a lot of pass holders though.
Yes.
One pass you didn't recommend that I would recommend to people, especially folks that don't have that much time and just kind of want to watch in general the good stuff. If you can take that Wednesday off when the award winners come out, there's currently for sale an award winners pass. It's only $100 and that's the early bird price, and you'll be able to watch all the award-winning films on demand on February 3rd.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool thing with the festival is taking. So I think the awards ceremony is that Tuesday night, so there's not a whole lot scheduled new coming out Tuesday, although that is when The World to Come is premiering. So I'm excited for that. Yeah. That is the big one. I mean, I'm kind of considering it like one of the festival closers, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that comes out that day, but then they'll have their awards ceremony, and that's when they'll populate which movies made it into being an award winner, and will populate for that Wednesday. So yeah, that's a great point, Taylor. That's a really good pass to do if you just want to see like the award winners and the really, really good stuff, the stuff that stood out at the festival. $100 in a day. It could be much more.
If you take some PTO, you can make more money than you spend that day, and just have a nice day watching all the award winners.
It's a very, very valid point. Yeah. So anything else about Sundance that really stands out to you guys? Any other movies you guys wanted to discuss? Because like I said, as we know, there's a whole bunch of things that we could talk about with films, but anything about the festival, any movies you guys want to bring up?
I think most interesting to me is going to be how many of the documentaries that debut at Sundance this year end up becoming acquired and, held up as the top tier documentaries of the year. There's quite a few that I'm personally interested in between the Questlove documentary we'd mentioned. There's a documentary called Ailey that looks like it's going to have absolutely sumptuous cinematography. I've talked to you guys about All Light Everywhere. Taylor in Vancouver mentioned documentary I'm very interested in on the Sparks brothers, who I know nothing about, but it's directed and edited by Edgar Wright, who I'm fascinated by. We've got Taming the Garden, about bringing a tree from one location to another on a boat. I think that the documentaries are going to shape up to be maybe the most interesting out of all the titles at Sundance as a genre. And then obviously what gets acquired during the festival is going to be very interesting, because we're going to see films that might not come out till 2022.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Promising Young Woman is just now coming out this month, and that was Sundance last year. So, yeah.
I think Wildlife, the same thing happened, directed by Paul Dano, his directorial debut. Carey Mulligan, Jake Gyllenhaal. I think that went about a year without being released as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how those acquisitions go and what their release timelines are.
Yeah, we get to spend a year or however much time telling people, you've got to see this movie when it comes out.
Yeah. Just going to be sitting on those like little eggs.
Yeah.
What movie do you guys think you're going to be most like, you have to see this when it comes out, on Netflix, on Hulu, on Amazon Prime? Because there's probably like two for me that I can just instantly see swept up and being held up as their big premiere release for a streaming giant, for one single month.
I think Passing is going to get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I see that going to Netflix and being like their big October movie or something.
Right. Yeah. So, sorry, Taylor in Vancouver, did you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, no, I was gonna repeat Passing. I don't know, like, I'm hesitant to say this, but I think Crypto Zoo will get its fair share, a little buzz, just because it's animated. You got the Michael Cera in there, some other big names that aren't coming to me just this moment, but
Jason Schwartzman, I want to say,
or is he? Because he was in the last Dash Shaw animated film, My High School and Sinking into the Sea or the Ocean or something. But yeah, I mean, I think that one hit Netflix, and yeah, that one got some buzz. I remember it did hit I think it hit VIFF like 4 years ago or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. That one will probably, I could see it getting picked up by like Netflix and stuff like that, and getting some buzz. But I don't know if it would be the biggest, but it's it's animated. It's got the animal rights kind of angle going on to it as well, and it'll be kooky and fun, I think. But it's also kind of like an adult animated film, so it's not going to be entirely toothless.
Yeah. The other, I kind of agree with you on that one. I have to, because I haven't seen My High School sinking into whatever body of water it is, the sea, I think. But I think there's a point there in that maybe comedies and lighthearted films get a lot of, or could get a lot of mainstream attention. And that's what draws my attention to things like On the Count of Three, which has star power, including, like we mentioned, Christopher Abbott and Tiffany Haddish. But also one that I don't think is being talked about as much as it might need to be is Together. Those screenings are sold out for public tickets, and it's a comedy, and I'm pretty sure it's already picked up distribution by Bleecker Street.
That's the Ed Helms comedy?
That's the Ed Helms comedy. Yeah. So that one actually, I don't know, like that, is that going to be the Palm Springs of this year? Like, I don't know. But it certainly has a lot of...
it's a sophomore film.
I know you
Pennsylvania a while ago.
Palm Springs a lot.
I do. I don't think this is going to be Palm Springs. No. I like Ed Helms, but he's not Andy Samberg. I'm sorry.
That's nobody's Andy.
He's
Samberg.
Not a Renaissance man.
I guess maybe just in like popularity or likability for a comedy. I think that one might get some mainstream attention.
Has some mainstream appeal for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I did very much like Palm Springs, and wish that I had been able to see it sooner. So yeah, I guess in regard to that question, I'm looking at the comedies to kind of make a mainstream splash.
Well, I'll make a bold prediction for you.
Boy.
I'm gonna say Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, will be acquired by HBO Films and released as one of their main staples for documentary at some point after June of this year, kind of like they tend to do.
Oh, that makes sense. HBO is always looking for hard-hitting documentaries and very relevant documentaries. And I mean, I think that could be something that HBO
That happens.
attaches.
Everybody in this conversation owes me a soda.
Okay. You know what? I'll take that bet. Let me get you one of those little mini cans.
There's a lot on this. I feel like Adam Sandler. I've got a lot right on this.
Yeah, stack the bets. Stack the bets.
Stack the bets.
It's a three-way parlor.
That's funny. No, HBO and HBO obviously needs big hard-hitting content for their HBO Max platform. I mean, the deal that they made to get Warner Brothers movies straight to streaming day and date release that was a huge deal to have, and hopefully for HBO Max that sticks. But yeah, I imagine that after a deal like that, and with the competition that there is in the streaming world and in streaming services, that HBO Max is probably going to be going very aggressively for content that people will be interested in. And so yeah, that could be Summer of Soul could be. I'm going to bet you on that, but I'm also going to agree with you. So.
Good. I like a bet where I'm in agreement, but I've got the side I want, and I've got my team on my side as my enemy. I guess question for both of you, since we just talked about Passing. Both Passing from Rebecca Hall and Land from Robin Wright are directorial debuts. Obviously, Passing has the more star power. Land has the more buzz. Where do you guys see those directorial debuts landing?
Taylor in Vancouver, I'm gonna let you start with this one. I have thoughts, but
I mean, Land definitely sounds interesting, and I like Robin Wright, wonderful actor. But yeah, I mean, directing chops. I think, did she have some involvement with the direction on House of Cards?
She did, I think, all of the last season, and she directed episodes. I think starting like season 3 on.
Okay, I kind of fell off with House of Cards. I mean, for some obvious reasons. But I think I might have caught some of her like season 3 efforts. So I mean, there's probably some, she's developed some competence as a director out of that. But yeah, I really don't know where Land could lie. I mean, with films like Nomadland being very big this past year, a film like Land in kind of that similar vein could really hit with people, could really strike a chord. But yeah, I'm not sure. And then Passing, I think it's, it's just got the star power behind it. The premise sounds interesting, period piece. So I think it's just it has a lot going for it. But got to be careful as well. Don't want to overhype something. I'm just happy to see where they both go. I know that's a really neutral answer, but yeah, like.
Wait, are you just going to sit back and let reality take place and not be wrong?
I think you make a lot of valid points. For me personally, Robin Wright, my most positive experience with Robin Wright is with House of Cards. And I love her.
Have neither of you seen The Princess Bride?
I've seen The Princess Bride.
How long ago was
that?
It was the 80s, bud.
Okay. So more recent experience with her is House of Cards. I think she did a wonderful job in that role. I think that was just perfect for her. And unfortunately, because of that, I'm having a hard time seeing her be as, I don't want to say competent. I'm not saying she's incompetent, but being as proficient as that role. Now, obviously, there's always potential for that. And with this being a directorial debut, she could surprise me. I'm looking forward to if that's the case. But she just fits so well as Claire Underwood, and whichever episodes she directed, I don't know specifically, but the ones that the seasons of House of Cards that I saw were good. I didn't see the last season. I then see her in something like Wonder Woman, and I really don't like her character in that movie.
What about Blade Runner?
Blade Runner, yeah. She just doesn't appeal to me in like the more blockbuster films. She's there, she does the job, and I don't want to take away from her talent in saying that. It's not that I don't like her. I just think that she could be doing better stuff, and hopefully Land is one of those things. I'm really hoping that Land is something that she's very passionate about, that and that she puts all of her talent into to show like, hey, I'm not, I'm an actor, but I can also really tell a good story. And so I'm really, really hoping for that. So I guess with Land, what I'm sitting at is cautiously optimistic. But Passing, I do have high expectations for. There's so much talent and star power in that one, that I do have very high expectations for that, and I'm really hoping that it accomplishes great things in storytelling. So, yeah. But you're right. Good job pointing that. I think those are the two, like in general, the two most anticipated films at Sundance, at least the two that I've heard the most about across articles and buzz and
good marketing teams.
And good, yes, exactly. So yeah, those are two really good things to
two movies that have not been seen by anyone, and they sure do seem great.
And Passing, though, also a directorial debut from Rebecca Hall. So,
right.
And her first screenplay as well.
Yeah. Taylor, where do you Taylor in Seattle? Where do you sit on those?
I think Land is going to be underwhelming and become a Hulu acquisition released somewhere in June, like Shirley was. And I think Passing, if it's good, is probably going to be acquired by Netflix and be their giant holiday season film, much like The Other Side of the Wind or Mank. Like it has that to it. It's got Skarsgård, it's got Ruth Negga, Tessa Thompson, Andre Holland. There's not a single actor there that I don't love a performance of in at least one film. It's a deeply personal story from what I can tell for Rebecca Hall. It's something that she spent a lot of time, building up. It's only her third produced film. I just see all the cards kind of landing right there. And if it does indeed turn out to be good, I think it's going to be a giant acquisition. And if it's bad, I think we're going to see something much like all the movies that just came out on Amazon Prime, just in the big dump, what was it?
You're talking about Sylvie's Love, right?
Sylvie's Love and I'm Your Woman, and there were like three others that have dropped since August, right?
Amazon did get Sound of Metal, which I thought was a good acquisition.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's a solid acquisition. I don't think I personally didn't find the film to be great. I found it to be good, top 30 territory, not top 5.
Where did you see Sound of Metal at? Was that at AFI?
No, I got a screener for it through one of those email blasts that we get.
I'm so curious with Sound of Metal, which platforms showed it with subtitles default? Because AFI had the titles default.
I did not have subtitles default.
Right, and I think I went to Amazon and it wasn't default, but I saw some review on it where they were showing clips of the movie with the subtitles. And the movie appealed to me so much because of that decision of having the subtitles. It was just this really very clear.
That would have definitely changed my viewing experience.
And there was a whole lot of intentionality behind it, because the subtitles only subtitled the verbal communication. It didn't subtitle the sign language. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of this dynamic of like, oh, this is what it's like to be on the other side, right? This movie isn't made for the hearing capable. Like it's produced as if it's made for the hearing impaired, or this and they get subtitles and don't need the sign language subtitled. I just thought it was a very clever thing, and I really wish that was. Are you sure that was
on purpose?
I would like to believe it. Because it stood out to me very, very clearly, and is one of the reasons I like that movie so much.
Where an accident in the print that you see completely changes your experience with it.
Maybe it does, and I don't even know. Again, I'm questioning, like, was subtitling as the default presentation? Like, was that even intentional? I don't know, but it certainly had an impact on my experience, and I like those little nuanced decisions. And I'm just going to assume it was intentional because it did profoundly change how I interpreted that movie.
Totally.
So, all right, guys, I think it's about time to wrap up. So yes, I guess we haven't even given the dates for Sundance. Sundance is happening at the end of this month, the beginning of February. It goes from January 28th to February 3rd. Of course, February 3rd being the day that the award winners are screened. Lots of movies, over 70 features, right? It was like over 70 feature films, and lots of directorial debuts, huge variety of what of types of storytelling going on. And it's virtual, so you don't actually have to travel to Utah to attend Sundance. This is a very unique.
You can just be wherever you are right now listening to this.
Wherever you are. Oh, almost wherever you are. I think it's geo-locked domestically.
Correct.
Right? Yes.
As long as you're within America. You can
sorry.
be anywhere in the world as long as you're in America.
Sorry, Taylor in Vancouver.
Not allowed.
You're just a little bit too far.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I know that you guys, that as press, you have access. So, but yeah, anyway, Sundance, definitely take a look if you're within the viewing capabilities. Take a look, see what's there. Check out the movies that we've talked about. I don't know, leave comments on our pages. About
Kickoff time is 4:30 Pacific on January 28th, just to mention. Yeah. So East time would be 7:30 there. So wherever you're at, that's the window of when everything gets started on the 28th. Yes, and be sure, I mean, because the festival is virtual, be sure to read and research how it's happening, because there are a lot of, I mean, I could spend a whole segment just talking about the not rules, but like the way that it's happening. So be sure to be in the know on what's on like start times, viewing windows, and how long you have to finish it. That's all important, and it's kind of this new way of how we have to adapt to virtual screenings. But yeah. Most importantly, yes, you can pause it. You can pause it. That is a good point. You can pause it, and you have a decent amount of time to finish. So. So yeah, perfect. Plugs. Who wants to plug first? Oh goodness, I'll get it over with. You can follow me at Earth's Taylor, because I'm the only Taylor on Earth, as is proved in this conversation. You can also follow my show at Drink in the Movies or at Drink in the Movie, depending on the platform, because Twitter has a certain amount of characters you can have. Or you can just visit our website, drinkinthemovies.com. Sweet. Taylor in Vancouver.
Yeah, the original Taylor over here. I'm at Best Reel. That's best with 2 T's, Best Reel, and that's REAL. And you can find me on Letterboxd, Twitter, Instagram with all the same handles. And I'm writing for ForReel Movies and Reviews, hoping to bring very comprehensive coverage of Sundance Film Festival at the end of this month, covering as many films as I can. Lots of writing coming out. So just check us out at moviesforreal.net, and follow, chat, leave comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So hope to see you all there. Hope to see you guys there, and hope to see everyone out there at the Sundance. Yeah, we'll be sitting next to each other.
We'll be virtually sitting next to each other. Virtually, yeah. Yeah, and you can find me, Thomas, on Twitter and Instagram at beingtsj, and as Taylor in Vancouver said, find my writing at moviesforreal.net, and of course follow Movies for Real on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Movies for Real. That's for real spelled FORREEL. And yes, and
how do you spell that?
FORREEL. I'm going to make that a rap. It's so rhythmic. But we encourage all the engagement. Leave comments, tweets, message us. If you have questions about Sundance, have we all sat in on the How to Fest videos? Yeah, so we are like experts almost at how to
pseudo experts. We can send you the right email to question.
Yes. So yeah, I'm excited for Sundance, and thank you both, Taylor Bees, for doing this. I want to get you guys back on here again so that we can actually hash out who is the better Taylor B. I think that would be fun.
I think it's decided. There's only one on Earth, and the one that claims to be the original doesn't even have a Twitter handle that says he's the original. So.
Oh, don't make him go change his handle. He already plugged it. Don't make him go change it.
Thomas, every time you said that's an excellent point, Taylor, I assumed you were talking to me, so I took all of that credit, and I'm feeling pretty good right now. So
this is great. Oh,
how's
man.
it feel to have all my credit?
Nice.
Okay, before this gets out of hand, guys, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep it real.